I have behind me some people, some who are office holders, some who desire to be office holders, and some who we will hear from briefly from each of them, just to give their thoughts to what's happening today. I'll tell you a little bit about what I think later if you still want to hang around for that. I talk for 3 hours a day, so Bob Morris, who represents us in the 84th District down at the State House, calls Fort Wayne his home. Bob is a guy who has started several entrepreneurial businesses. One of you know, Health Kick Nutrition Centers, and he's done well with his business because he's worked hard at it. And he also has a track record of responsible involvement in the Northeast Indiana business community. In 2001, Bob was elected president of the Georgetown Merchants Association. In 2003, Bob was selected by the Indiana Humanities Council to receive the Governor's Award for Tomorrow's Leaders. In 2004, Bob helped establish the Young Leaders of Northeast Indiana. He's always been active with the Chamber of Commerce. He's worked with the Northeast Indiana Corporate Council. He's issued ideas trying to deal with the brain drain so the best and the brightest of our community will stop leaving us to go elsewhere, and to give them good reasons to stay right here in Fort Wayne. He's also served on the boards of Purdue University Extension Service and Northeast Indiana Crime Stoppers. He and his wife, Erin, have chosen to live here. Bob constantly, whether it's as a representative, a businessman, a father, or a husband, constantly demonstrates traditional commitment in his community through his business, his church, and his family. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Morris. Woo!
Thanks to all of you for coming here today. I always run into this problem here. I'll just kind of move it up here. It's nice to see so many people that care about the city of Fort Wayne. I'll briefly touch on the occupiers and those people that choose to call Headwaters Park a campground, now Fryman Square being a campground. How disappointed I am in our current mayor that he is allowing this. I believe all of our city parks, when you come to the city park, it says the park opens at sunrise and closes at sunset. It doesn't say welcome to Campground Headwaters Park. But these people do have a right to assemble and protest accordingly. On Tuesday, we're going to make a decision that'll affect all of us for many years to come. We're going to elect a new mayor. We're going to elect a new city clerk. We're going to maintain the 1st District. We're going to elect a new representative in the 2nd District. Woo! Yeah! And I want to discuss that with you here today. We can all gather here today, and we can all say we're going to do something, but I'm going to challenge you. I know many of you have heard this time and time again. We all need to go home today, and we need to call our neighbors, something that's lost and forgotten. Many of us don't know our neighbor to the left and don't know our neighbor to the right. Go knock on your neighbor's door and tell them to get out and vote on Tuesday for Paula Hughes. Hey, hey. Get out and vote for Zach Bonahum. Get out and vote for Russ Yale. Get out and vote for Tom Smith. All those people that share the same values that we share. Now, in the past few weeks, I've received a handful of calls questioning whether they should vote for Paula Hughes for mayor and many other people that are running on the ballot. They're reading the newspaper and they're taking what's in the newspaper as the truth. I always read the newspaper and I always chuckle as I'm reading it, saying, I never told that reporter that, but that's what's being reported. And I see a gentleman over here writing with his pen right now, so follow closely. Paula Hughes is pro-police. Paula Hughes is pro-business. Paula Hughes is pro-Fort Wayne. Paula Hughes is pro-life. Paula Hughes stands for the same values that we stand for. And that's why I'm telling each of you to go home and knock on your neighbor's door, make a call across the city, and tell people to get out and vote on Tuesday. I also encourage you on Tuesday to hang out at your voting place for a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and stand there and tell people to vote for Paula Hughes for mayor. That is what's going to get Paula elected. What's not going to get Paula elected is if we all go home and we don't do anything about what we heard here today. So on Tuesday, plan on being there for 12 long hours. I will be. I'll be telling people to vote for Zach Bonahum and Tom Smith. Tom Smith is my representative in the 1st District. So I will be at a voting place for 12 long hours. I hope the temperature is like it is today and not that chilly. Paula Hughes stands for what we stand for. Paula Hughes will be the next mayor of Fort Wayne. It's so good to be here today and to see these flags waving. I wish someone had a state of Indiana flag. Maybe I should have brought that. We have many challenges down at the Capitol in this next session. This past session, the other side walked out for 5 long weeks. I met with constituents from representatives here in Fort Wayne that decided to flee to Illinois. It was a very long session, and there's many issues that they're tied up with. But what really hurts me the most is the many long hours that the people down at the Capitol put in, and the many long hours that citizens like many of you here today drove to the Capitol because you were very passionate about a certain issue. Many bills were lost. I hope that those bills will be heard this session and that we can continue with this great democracy. Please, on Tuesday, plan on being at the voting place. I can't stress that enough. So we can change the leadership here in the city of Fort Wayne. So my children, my grandchildren can enjoy a great city for many years to come. Thanks for having me here today, and I wanted to touch on one gentleman in particular, Zach Bonahum. I'm sure many of you receive garbage like this in the newspaper, or I'm sorry, in the mail. This piece of mail in particular came out of Indianapolis, Indiana. The Indiana Democrat Party sent this trash about Zach Bonahum and what he stands for. I know there's many people that believe this garbage. I know Zach personally, and he's looking forward to being your city clerk. He stands for many of the same things, all the same things that we stand for. He believes in the U.S. Constitution. Amen. He believes in the Indiana Constitution. And I hope someday soon our U.S. Constitution will have an amendment that says that our country needs to operate with a balanced budget. Yes. Yes. Indiana had to learn a very hard way in the Wabash and Erie Canal and the failure that was financially on the state of Indiana. And our legislators, way back when, said that our state needs to operate with a balanced budget. I'm saying a balanced budget. Our federal government is not operating with a budget at all. That's right. And that's a big problem. So I hope that we elect Zach Bonahum as our next city clerk, Paula Hughes is our next mayor, Russ Yale, Tom Smith, Tom Freistroffer, John Crawford, and Marty Bender. Thank you all for coming here today, and thanks for having me.